We're back from our vacation. We're gone. I did upload a bit of a precursor video before we left, and then I think it came out after we were gone, whatever. So I've been gone for a week. The 150 has been here. I had moved around some plants and stuff before I left in order to get things kind of prepared just to allow them to grow for a week. Now, I got some good comments on that video. One of them that I noticed was to not be making any big changes to your aquarium before you leave. And I agree with that comment because I've said it before. Now, I wasn't making a big change to my aquarium. I was actually moving plants that were already established in my aquarium. So slightly different, more of just a contextual thing, right? So I didn't change the CO2, the lighting, my filtration, the water schedule or any of that kind of stuff, or the temperature or any of that kind of stuff. So basically what I was doing is just moving around some of the Aquascape and some of the plants that had already been established in this aquarium. So I really wasn't making a big, huge, dramatic change to anything. I was actually just physically kind of moving things around. So hopefully that adds a little bit of clarity to previous videos where I've been like, don't make any changes. So I wasn't making any changes to the actual system. I was actually just moving stuff around, which is fine. Now it's been about a week since I have been here. Some plants have grown, that is for sure. As you can see, the front glass here, the acrylic, is actually pretty green with algae. I haven't really done anything to this tank for a week, and so I wanted to make sure to make a little video now that I am back and show you guys what's up. I do have some plants that need trimming in here even just after a week. The Pogostem installatus octopus is overgrown already and makes the scape look wrong. Some of the Ammonia in here needs to be trimmed and replanted. I've got a few other things going on. This Ludwigia over here is just super long and tall and needs to be trimmed and replanted also. Everything I moved over here has done pretty well, except for just like one plant came up uprooted, which not a big deal. I'll just go ahead and push that back in there. I don't even know if that's part of this video that we got going on here. A subtle change to today's production. I think you guys can notice there's a little camera right here, and I'm actually shooting on the little camera. These are the two Osmo actions that I have. I use these fairly often to go into tanks and like underneath and stuff like that. Just kind of shooting the whole thing with the Osmo. So let me know what it looks like. If it looks terrible or it's not as good as normal, let me know. My big camera is just downstairs and I didn't want to go get it. So that's the reason I'm doing that, just to try it out, see what it's like. Okay, so why don't we jump in here and get some of this work done. The first thing I have to do is obviously clean the front glass so that it's easier, to film, which is pretty standard for me, that I kind of normally do this every couple of days, and I don't normally leave it to go very long like this. I mean, it's pretty green, and I don't normally let it get to this point before cleaning it, but I was out of town, and just making sure that the tanks got fed was more important than asking somebody to try and clean an acrylic tank and have some kind of accident. Like, you can get these little snails that can actually get caught behind a mag float. So you do have to pay attention to that kind of stuff, especially with an acrylic tank. And I don't normally put that on somebody who's, feeding my fish for me while I'm gone, and, checking on the house and doing all that kind of stuff. So the first thing we do is use the mag float. I have the blue one, that's the acrylic one. And this is actually the medium large, I think. They make even a bigger one, but I've never been able to afford the giant mag floats. They're pretty expensive, but this one seems to work out pretty well for this size of a tank. It's 150 gallon, and I think the thickness on this acrylic is more than a ½ inch. I'd have to grab a tape measure to find out. I think it's bigger than a ½ inch thick, but I don't know where a tape measure is right now. Obviously, if people really look around in the background of my videos in my fish room, you'll realize that this is more of a utilitarian space. This isn't so much a have the public come in here. It's like a workshop. So I do have stuff on the ground, and it's not, you know, there's no chairs in here or anything like that. I don't do any entertaining. And, you know, from time to time, my family wants to come check out my aquariums, and they're like, oh, wow, your aquariums are really nice, but you should really do something to spruce up this joint. And as you guys know, I'm always, you know, gluing things, drilling things, and smashing stuff. So it really is just a utility kind of room with nice tanks in it. If that makes you mad, I don't know what to tell you. Anyhow, that's our first little bit there. Oftentimes I'll jump in there with these little piece of leftover filter material, which does great for actually cleaning acrylic. It doesn't scratch it, as long as you don't drop it on the floor and get rocks in it and stuff like I may have just done. You can brush that off, it'll be fine. But oftentimes I'll take a little chunk of this because I cut the big rolls up. I cut up the big rolls to make filter pieces for my sump, and oftentimes I'll have like this little 2-inch piece left. It's like this long, and I'll just cut it into little bits. Use those to clean the inside of the glass. But actually we look pretty good for filming today, so I think that's about enough of acrylic cleaning 101. All right, so the first thing we're gonna address is the fact that the Limnophylla aromatica is a little out of whack. So I'm gonna have to go ahead and pull this out and replant it. And unfortunately, that's just kind of the way it goes with this plant. It's just a little bit leggy sometimes. And by leggy, I mean, you can see how the bottoms of the plant will start to lose its leaves, right? But we got a new sprout here down at the bottom. Excuse me. We have a new sprout down here at the bottom that's going to grow real well. So we're going to actually trim the top off and then just replant this little sprout. All right, I'm going to keep doing this with all of them. I'm not really going to skip any of them, I don't think, today. Sometimes I skip some of them. Today, I don't think I'm going to do that. The reason I'm probably not going to skip any of them is because I got a little bit of algae going on down here because, I don't know, I'd like to say it's because I was gone, but I think it's just where we're at right now with this tank. It's been adjusting a little bit because of the new guppies that are in here. And, you know, feeding the guppies. A lot of people don't take that into consideration. Like, you add a new, you know, fish to your tank and you start adding more food, and suddenly, oh, I have more algae now. Like, well, yeah, it's kind of how it works. Supplying potentially more food for the algae to grow and your fish, which, you know, we want your fish to grow. That's what we want. But this is one of those things with the Limnophylla aromatica, is that it does grow to try and get out of the water. I mean, that's what it wants to do. It wants to be up, growing out of the water, which, you know, that's not uncommon for a lot of plants. A lot of plants are reaching for the sky so that they can grow up out of the water and flower and do all that. Let's see. Aha, here we go. So this one's growing real nice, right? And I like how it's growing, but it's unfortunately growing in the wrong spot. I like how it's growing, but I'm going to want it to do that a little more over there. So when I get back to planting it, I'll show you what's up with that. Oh, and look, we got some Crypt Wendetii showing up. All right, there we go. So we've got our area cleared out. Let me grab one of these cameras here. So we've got our area cleared out, and I've got 3 different piles here. So this is a pile of roots, right? So these are all the root bases that I'm gonna keep. And I'll end up putting a plant weight on these. Actually, I might as well just do it now, one-handed, like a weirdo. Now I'll take these, and I'll actually go over to the 240, right? And I'll put them down there in the sump, and there's no light on right now. As you can see, there's no light on. Because then, or there's no light on right now because the lights operate opposite of the tank lights. So at night, the sumps are on. So you can see here, got all of our tops. These are where it's gonna get replanted. Planting tongs. And then this is all what's just gonna go in the compost. These are all the kind of scraggly root bits and stuff like that, which are actually just gonna go in the compost, which is over here. All right, just throw those in the compost and then we move on. I got a brand new toothbrush and it's pink. That's right. This guy goes for the pink toothbrush. I go for the pink toothbrush because why not? Who cares? I think it's funny. It's got pink toothbrush jokes. Not really. There was a purple one or a pink one, and I didn't feel like purple. Felt like pink. A little accumulation of some nonsense here on these rocks, and it's creating a little algae. So I use my toothbrush, clean it out a little bit. Toothbrush does a great job of like grabbing those little clumps of algae. Plus I can wipe anything away, clean the toothbrush out. Oh, this new one holds on to algae like crazy. It's hard to get out of there. Well, got it for free from the dentist, so you know, it's okay. Get our rocks clean up a little bit. Figure out what's getting trapped in here. I remember somebody was telling me that I had too much flow in this aquarium, which I thought was odd. I think maybe they didn't realize that it's 150 gallons. Maybe they thought it was smaller or something. All right, so we got these little crypts down here, Cryptocorini, Wendellii, which is occupying a space where I don't want it to be. I'm gonna get this little buster out of here, find him a new home. Oh, there's the runner. So you can see how far away they can come from. The little runner root grows under the substrate, and you never really know until they suddenly pop up out of the blue. There's one more down here. Sometimes I like to get in here with my hand, figure out what's going on. But this Ludwigia here is just way too long. And I've got it planted in this crack in the rock, which seems to have lost most of its substrate. I just poured substrate in there and then planted it in, and it has kind of just migrated its way out. So I've got a decision to make here if I want to fill that back up and replant these or not, which I think is going to have to wait for another day. I think I'm going to make up my mind if I want to move these all together and do something else with this weird crack in the rock I got going here. So this one's growing back this way, which is weird. All right, well, I'm kind of running out of time for the day, so I think it's best to just go ahead and replant that which I'm going to replant.
Now, I like to plant these pretty tight together because they don't normally send out a lot of side shoots and like fill in. So you do have to kind of plant them in here so that, oh, now I got this one like back behind there. Give them a chance to get some light. Now I do typically kind of organize these in a way that I want to go back to front. Like I start at the back, plant them in the back first, and then work my way forward. Any of the real small ones will go in the front, and all the big kind of bushy looking ones doing good will go in the back. Some people have mentioned over the years that I make this look easy, and the reason that I make this look easy is because I do this kind of stuff a lot. Do this stuff all the time, practice, you know, messing around with things, making changes, and it just gets easier. You just get used to doing it, and then it's not that difficult. You know, you make subtle mistakes here and there, make little adjustments to how you do it next time, then all of a sudden it just gets easier and easier and easier. So it's just a practice thing, you know, more than anything. Just like in music, you know, you practice, 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 and you get better at music. Same kind of deal here. A little crypt root. Sometimes if you're feeling super froggy, you can go ahead and do a couple at the same time. If you got some real litlins. I don't normally like to do a couple at the same time though, because it doesn't look as good. Go back to one. There we go.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, thank you very much for tuning in. I appreciate it. If you like this content, if you like things about aquariums, especially freshwater aquariums or plants in general, shrimp, fish, that kind of stuff, don't forget to hit the subscribe button. YouTube demands that I make an outro part to the video like this that tells you to subscribe, hit the like button, leave a comment for me so that I can know about stuff that you're wondering about and make future videos about it. If you're wondering about this aquarium, there are a lot of videos about this specific aquarium on my channel. New ones, old ones, and everything in between. If you're wondering about any of the plants in here and that kind of stuff, scroll through my extensive amounts of videos on here and you will probably find something that has to do with most everything in this aquarium. So thanks for checking in. I'm out. I'm out. I'm out.